Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining, my name is Prince Victor and I'm so glad that you are here. Alright, so now today we're going to be talking about something that I feel like it's universal to the human experience. You know, there are just some days you wake up and it's like something is off. Like you can't really tell what exactly it is. It's not like you slept, with a bad thought in your head, but you just wake up and you feel like something is off and you're asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? Or maybe you didn't even just wake up and you're feeling that way. Maybe you're going about your day and you suddenly realize that you're in a kind of mood, like you're just feeling a type of way that you can't really name. Just keep asking yourself, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this? And you do not have the answer to that question. If this sounds familiar to you, I want to let you know that there is nothing wrong with you, okay? You're just feeling certain emotions that you have not exactly recognized. Or let's say you've recognized them, but you don't know that this is a particular emotion you're feeling. And a lot of us were not really taught how to identify our emotions, not to talk of understanding or expressing them. And so today I am going to be raising emotional awareness, okay, letting you know the major emotions, actually, because we're humans and so many things happen in this life, and so we feel like a whole bunch of emotions in just one day. But today I'm just going to be mentioning a few major emotions that we as humans feel. So it's not just it's not just like me that feels this kind of way. You also feel this kind of way. We're going to be talking about sadness, anxiety, all of these feelings really, and just raising emotional awareness, letting you know what it feels like, how you can recognize that, okay, this is sadness, this is anxiety, this is anger, all of these things, and also how you can express them in a healthy way. All right, so let's get right into the video. All right, so think of your emotions like your body's inbuilt notification system. Like when you're on your phone and let's say your phone is locked, right? You're doing something else and your phone is locked, and then you get a notification. The notification is to tell you, to inform you about something that is going on in an app on your phone. It's just like that. Just like when it's the same with emotions, just like when you feel hunger, you feel hungry, like you're hungry, you need to eat. It tells you that you need to eat something, right? It's the same. Each emotion is like a messenger. Each emotion is to tell you what exactly it is that is going on in your inner world. And today's video, like I said earlier, is not just for you to know that, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Okay, I'm feeling angry right now, or I'm feeling sad right now. Why are you feeling that way? One of the major reasons why we actually need to feel our emotions, to understand them, to know that this is what I'm feeling, to understand why we're feeling that way, and to let ourselves feel the emotions with no shame and regret or just trying to suppress it, is for us to avoid emotional debt. Now, let me explain. First off, I am not the one that coined this word. I actually heard it from Nejwa Zebian, and she is the author of Welcome Home. If you don't know who Nejwa Zebian is, you can Google her, all right? But she said, and I'm going to be reading it because it's like a long quote and I cannot cram that in my head, all right? She said, emotional debt is the accumulation over the years of emotions, experiences that you haven't felt or processed. And as time goes on, this debt creates a false belief system about yourself, and every experience you constantly go through confirms this false belief, and it starts feeling like too much for you to handle because you haven't taken the time out to feel them. Let me even say, it's just like, let's imagine you're in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship like me, let's just imagine. And now if you are in a relationship, imagine your partner does something that pisses you off. And they do it the first time, they do it the second time, they do it the third time. And each time they do it, you don't talk about it. You just let it slide. You're like, okay, maybe not this time. You're not going to talk about it. The second time, you're not going to talk about it. And it keeps compounding. And then next time you have a little tiny misunderstanding, maybe, just maybe, as an African now, one of the ways that they express, I would not classify myself as them because it's so weird. But one of the ways we actually sometimes show, and this is not like a generic thing for all African relationships, okay? I am just saying based on what I have experienced in my past relationships. And so let's say you're playing with your partner and you're just, relating, and then maybe your partner just calls you big head, and all of a sudden you flare up like, why are you calling me big head? What's it like? It's so funny, but let's say they call you a word and maybe you've even been finding that word triggering, but you don't talk about it until all of a sudden, because it's already normal for them now, and then they call you that word and all of a sudden you flare up and you react and they're like, where is this coming from? And from that little big head that they called you, you start saying all of these things that is not even relating to what the whole thing was about in the first place. Do you understand? That's what it feels like when there is emotional debt in that kind of situation. There's an accumulation, a compounding of all those emotions that she has felt but she has not expressed. Why am I saying she? It's possible for a guy too. All right, so basically that is one major reason why it's a need to feel our emotions. We are beings, and beings feel. Like, being is like an action word, right? You are a human being and you are supposed to feel your emotions, okay? And so the first emotion that we're going to be talking about, which is universal to the human experience, is sadness. SADNESS. You know that feeling when you're not in the mood, like you don't even want anybody to come talk to you. Don't walk up to me, don't talk to me, like I am not in the mood. Yeah, that feeling that you cage yourself in, or that feeling you don't let yourself express, is sadness. And now I think sadness usually shows up when we feel lost, sometimes when we feel disconnected, sometimes when we are even grieving something. It's basically associated to loss or disconnection. And so instead of pushing sadness away and just disconnecting from the world entirely because you feel disconnected within from yourself, you need to sit down, okay, baby girl, baby boy, sit down with me right now. If you're feeling sad, sit down and ask yourself, why exactly am I feeling this way? And not in the sense of you trying to accuse yourself or shame yourself or guilt yourself that I should not be feeling this way, but in the sense of curiosity, why am I feeling this way? What is this sadness connected to? Do I need to grieve right now? Do I need support right now? Don't shame yourself for feeling the way you are feeling. Do you understand? It's not going to help you. Instead of isolating yourself, you can reach out to a friend and just share to them that. Tell them. Someone you trust, every time I mention reaching out to a friend, I have to clarify. It's someone you trust. It's someone you have close relationship with. You cannot just message a stranger and be just trauma dump on them. No, this has to be someone that you're in close relationship with, that you trust, and you know that this person values you. You ask them if they have time or space, really, that you have to share something with them, and then you just message them and tell them, I'm feeling this kind of way and I don't even know why. If you don't know why, tell them you don't know why, and then maybe you can also tell them that you need support or you just need company, but don't isolate yourself in those in those moments where you feel sadness. Do not. The more you isolate yourself, you already feel disconnected on the inside from yourself. Then you now, because of the disconnection you feel within, you now dare and disconnect from the world too. It's like adding fuel to the fire. And another thing I would really tell you to do is to allow yourself to cry. If you need to cry, baby, people that are close to me, they already know that. It's not like I am a cry advocate. No, but I'm a deep feeler, and I really do not see anything wrong in crying. I feel like tears are one of the ways we release stress, we express ourselves. So if you're feeling sad and you do not even know why, baby, it's okay to cry. If you want to cry, please, by all means, cry like a baby in your pillow. Cry. I'm not that friend that will tell you, oh, don't be sad. Don't be like that. Feel. I feel. So I would be a terrible friend if I tell you not to feel the sadness too. I'm the friend that will tell you it's okay to feel sad, that something on the inside of you needs care. It needs attention. And you're human for feeling this way. And so you should allow yourself feel the sadness fully. Not to stay there, but to just feel it and really sit down with yourself and ask what you need, whether it's support or whether it's just you going out and finding things that would make you feel connected to yourself again, or if it's just you grieving. Grieve. Loss happens in this life. Grieve. Now let's talk about anger. Now for me, I feel like anger comes from a place of you feeling unheard or you feeling disrespected, okay? And so whenever you feel that emotion, anger is not about rage or aggression. Sometimes it's like a mask for the hurt that you feel underneath. You know, I said earlier that emotions are like signals, and so I feel like anger is that signal that tells you that something is not right. Maybe like a boundary has been crossed, or you're just not okay with something and it's getting you angry. Instead of like suppressing the anger and just, maybe even exploding and letting it overwhelm you so much that you cannot control yourself, don't do that. What I would say is, whenever you feel angry, I don't exactly know if I feel angry. Most times I just cry. If I feel sad, I cry. If I feel angry, I hardly feel angry though, but I feel like if I eventually feel angry, I would cry. And so, I'll just say that if you feel angry, that it's best for you to calm down, not react immediately, but just calm down and sit with yourself and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Instead of suppressing the emotion, ask yourself, do I need to speak up about something? Am I feeling hurt because of something? Am I feeling how of course it is anger. The emotion is anger, but how is it making you feel? Sometimes it can be hurt, sometimes it can be disappointment. Can disappointment be masked as anger? I don't really know. I'm not an anger expert. I don't really feel angry that much, but I do know that when the emotion called anger shows up, it's majorly because you either feel disrespected or you feel unheard, or you are just not okay with something that someone did and it's overwhelming for you. Whenever you feel angry, I would tell you, just calm down, take a breather, okay? I would say you should take time before you respond, and even when you want to later address the situation, you should communicate assertively instead of communicating aggressively. Now, for you to communicate assertively, I would say communicating assertively is just you letting the person know how you felt at that point in time. And so it's not you coming up to the person and saying, you're a terrible person, you did this, you did that. No, it's like you basically saying statements like, oh, I feel hurt. This is after you've calmed down now, okay? And you come back to the person and you're like, oh, I feel hurt when you actually do stuff like this, and I thought I've told you about it, but there don't seem to be any changes. Like, try to have a civil conversation. Let it be civil, okay? And so you're focusing on the experience rather than on accusing the person. Let me remind you that your anger actually makes sense. Okay, calm down. I know there are some people that really have anger issues. I don't know about that. I'm talking to you right now because I believe you don't have anger issues. So let's talk about me and you right now, okay? And so I feel like the best thing, let me just remind you that there is nothing wrong with you when you feel angry. Your anger makes sense. It's pointing you towards something that you really care about, something that you feel so deeply. It's just a pointer that you're actually a deep feeler too, okay? It's not just people like me that cry that are deep feelers. You that also get angry, you're a deep feeler too, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that, okay? Now, this next emotion that I am going to be talking about, I feel like the best way I can describe it is, there was this song, there is this song, I don't know if it's still trending, but at least as at the time I'm recording this, I don't think it's trending as much as it was. That was like 2 weeks ago. Somebody's watching me, it's my anxiety, something like that. But it's anxiety. Let's just focus on the fact that we're talking about anxiety. Now, I feel like anxiety just comes up when you're like really uncertain, you're not sure, and there's nobody on this planet that will tell me they don't feel anxious. Whether it's like you preparing for an event, or whether it's just you being anxious about something that you have not even started yet. Anxiety, really, all of these emotions are like universal. Everybody feels them, okay? As long as you're on this earth and as long as you have feelings, you're going to feel them, okay? Anxiety is like your brain's way of telling you that something is going to happen. Something feels unpredictable and I don't think I'm ready for it. Like, I am unprepared. I am uncertain of how this is going to go, of how this is going to play out. That's like the message I feel like your brain is trying to tell you when anxiety comes up. And some other times, anxiety is really crippling. Like, it cripples you to the point where you overthink a lot about something that has not even happened yet. And anxiety is not a fun thing to feel. I understand the part of you feeling anxious when you're like preparing for an event or something, but when it's like you feeling anxious because of something that has not even happened or something that is not even going to happen really, but you're just imagining it in your head, it's crippling. It's a lot for someone to feel. So for the people that really battle with anxiety to the point where it results into panic attacks, I would advise for you to go see a professional doctor. I do not have anything to tell you because first off, I don't even know what that feels like, so I cannot tell you that I relate to that because that would be me lying. I do not relate to that, and so I really would not have anything that would maybe help you in those kind of situations where it's like really crippling and then you're beginning to have panic attacks. Just call someone or go for therapy. For everyone that feels anxious once in a while, I would just tell you that whenever you're feeling anxious, you should focus on what's real. Don't focus on the what ifs. Focus on what's right in front of you, okay? One of the things that really even triggers anxiety is you just really overthinking about what's not real, about what's not there. And so whenever you feel anxious, focus on what's real and don't focus on the what ifs. What if this, what if this, what if this, what if this happens and this happens and this happens, and before you know it, there's a whole world you've created filled with things that are not even going to happen, but then they are like crippling you, not making you move, take action and do stuff that you really need to do. If you're anxious, I would say you should break things down. Just ask yourself, what is one step I can take? Like, what is one thing I can do? Or there's this 1 to 5, is it 5 to 1? I don't really know, but then there's this technique that I think therapists use. They say 5 things you can, is it 5 things you can feel or 5 things you can see, what you can smell, what you can touch, what you can taste, basically just using like your senses, your 5 senses to bring you back to the present. If I remember, I can just write it in the caption because I don't think I'm getting the right thing, but I would write it in the caption. So yes, but I think that's one technique that therapists do use. You are not weak for feeling anxious. Your mind is actually trying to protect you, to keep you in this. It's like when you start to feel anxious, it's your brain telling you we do not want to leave our comfort zone. Like, we sense danger, and danger not in the sense of like a threat, but danger in the sense of this is unfamiliar. And so your brain or your brain is telling you we don't want to do this because we don't know what it's like, and that's where that overwhelming feeling of uncertainty comes in. And so basically, you're not weird and you're not weak for feeling anxious. Your brain is sincerely, your mind is trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you in that shell. Just remind yourself that you are doing the best that you can right now. And I'm proud of you. I am. Now we're going to be talking about guilt. Now, guilt is not foreign to me at all. And I'm not saying I and guilt are best friends. No, never. I'm not best friends with guilt, but guilt is quite familiar to me because I feel guilt when maybe I do something. It's mostly when I do something that doesn't really sit right with me, and I know that this thing that I did is wrong, and so I would not feel comfortable. I would not be able to function until I have apologized about what I did that is making me just feel out of place. And so it might be the same for you too. Maybe you did something that is not right, you offended someone, and now you're feeling guilty about it. Don't push it aside and try to act like a macho, like you don't feel that, like you're a big girl, big boy kind of thing. if you feel guilty and it's like really valid, you should apologize to the person. But if it's that you set boundaries, okay, now this is false guilt, when it's in a situation whereby you set boundaries and then you start to feel guilty for setting those boundaries. No, I'm not going to endorse that. In those kind of situations, just remind yourself that you're a human being and sometimes you need your own space and you need to be comfortable with yourself and also in your relationships. So you telling someone that you would not like to be treated this way, or you would like for them to do this, or you would like for them to not do this, it's not because you are a terrible person, but it's just because you value yourself. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you valuing yourself and you setting boundaries, just so you can really come as the best. You can show up as the best person in your relationships, okay? And so basically, feeling guilty shows that, okay, you are actually human and you have a conscience and you actually care, okay? It shows that you care. Give yourself grace to grow and to learn as you go in life. Did you ask about shame? Now let's talk about shame. Now, shame is actually different from guilt. Guilt is like saying, okay, I did something wrong. But shame is you telling yourself that I am something wrong. It makes us feel like there is something wrong with us because we did something wrong. And so shame is you attaching your identity to something wrong that you did, or maybe something that happened to you really that wasn't even your fault. Shame like lets you attach your identity to that, so you believe that I am this, or that's when you start telling yourself, I am a terrible person, I am this person, I am that person. When shame never tells the truth. Shame has always been a liar. Since in the garden, you will not understand, but shame has always been a liar. Whenever you begin to feel shame, I'd say that you should speak to yourself like you would to a close friend or a lover, okay? Just be nice to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. And so basically, you need to tell yourself that your mistakes do not define you, okay? There is a difference between you making a mistake, you admitting that yes, you made a mistake, and between you making a mistake and you attaching your identity to the mistake that you made. Because we are friends, okay? We are friends, right? So let me be the one to tell you that you are not your mistakes. Did you hear what I said? You, your name. Say I, your name. I'm not my mistakes. Okay, I feel like maybe you need to say it like that so you would really understand and it would like seep into your subconscious. Who you are at your core is still worthy of love, okay? Don't be the one to pull yourself down. Why would you do that? Why? Just before we conclude this video, there's one last emotion I want to talk about. When I was prepping for this video, I didn't plan to only talk about the emotions that we'd rather not feel. I also included one last emotion, and that is like my favorite emotion. Guess what it is? It's just 3 letters. Joy. Joy. And now, how would I describe joy? For me, joy is that emotion I feel after I finish recording a video or a podcast episode. Joy is that emotion I feel after I maybe give my friends advice, or maybe when I just show up for my friend, I feel really joyful about it. And also when I like have conversations, communication with God, the joy, it's overwhelming. And so basically for me, that is when I feel joy. And you can feel joy at different times too. Now joy is not I don't want to sound too spiritual now, but joy is, there's a difference between joy and happiness, right? Let's not probably get into that. But happiness is dependent on like your circumstances. Let's say someone sends me $1,000, I would be happy, right? I would be happy, I would be glad. But then even though right now I do not currently have $1,000 in my account, I am joyful, not because of the circumstances surrounding my life right now, but because of my confidence in like whose I am. like I am the Lord's, therefore I am joyful. When I plan to talk about joy, I did not plan to add scriptures into it, so let's just focus, okay? Joy is like your inner world saying, yes, please, we want more of this. We want more of, recording videos. We want more of communicating with God. We want more of showing up in our friendships. We want more of these things that feel in alignment with our inner world, in alignment with who we are. We feel in alignment with what we love and what we are willing to share with the world. Basically, we feel in alignment with what matters to us. That's just the summary of what joy feels like. Do you know that despite the fact that joy is actually an amazing emotion and it's also a reality, apart from the fact that joy is these things, the problem with joy is that we don't allow ourselves to fully feel it. When we begin to feel joyful about a particular thing, or just joyful, to me sometimes joy does not make sense, because tell me, why am I feeling so happy when I do not have all that I need right now, or I do not have all that I want? Yes. Why am I feeling so excited when I don't have all that I want? That's how it. So sometimes you begin to downplay your joy because you begin to tell yourself that, oh, you're not supposed to be feeling this way, that there are so many things wrong in your life. Why are you feeling like this? Don't listen to that voice. Whenever that voice creeps up in your mind and begins to talk to you like that, do not listen. It happens to me too sometimes after I record a video and then I feel really joyful about it, and then the voice comes and it's like, why are you feeling joyful? Do you know if what you said in that video was important? Do you know if what you said was going to be helpful? All of these things. And then I begin, the joy that I felt at the beginning, it starts to dissipate, and before I know it, we're back to square one. And then I record another video and then I feel really joyful about it, and then the voice comes again and it starts to seep out of the joy. So today I am going to be telling you, and you are going to be telling me, we are going to be telling ourselves this thing that I'm about to say. My name, definitely, I praise. When I feel joy, I would not feel guilty about it. When I feel joy, I would practice gratitude. When I feel joy, I would acknowledge the good things that are going on in my life instead of focusing on what's missing, and I would be grateful. Back to gratitude. Okay, so whenever we feel joy, just come back. If you need to come back to this video, you're free. I'll try and edit it into a short so that you can have the short form. To look at me. Look at me. You deserve to feel joy. So whenever joy comes up, don't shrink it. Let it fill you up. Let it overwhelm you. Now, joy is that emotion that I say that you have the permission to let it overwhelm you, okay? And let it just remind you of what makes life beautiful, all right? Thank you. Now that we've actually broken down these feelings, what are the things that you can do to actually, be better at recognizing these emotions? The first thing I would say is for you to pause, calm down first. Whenever you notice that, okay, something is off, that you're feeling a kind of way, I think you just need to take a step back and take some time and just sit down with yourself and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Name the emotion that you are feeling. There's a feelings wheel. I would try and see if I can put the picture of the feelings wheel somewhere on the screen. But then there's a feelings wheel that would really help you break down the emotion that you are feeling. And so you can also use that really to name and to describe the emotion that you're feeling at that point in time. And now that you know the emotion that you're feeling, you need to ask yourself, what's this emotion trying to tell me? Remember, I said that emotions are your body's inbuilt notification system. They're like messengers, they're like signals, okay? And so you need to ask yourself, what is this message? What is this what is this emotion trying to tell me? And then when you figured out what the emotion is trying to tell you, you should find ways to express it healthily, whether that's by journaling, whether that's by taking a walk, whether that's by talking to a friend, whether that's by you being creative, writing or painting, drawing, or even whether that's by you coming back to this video because you need to, come back to the video. It's okay. Whatever healthy way you choose to express your emotions, it's allowed, okay? Basically, the goal is to find what helps you express your emotions instead of bottling them up. we've come to the end of this video, and if you really liked it, if you enjoyed it, you know how we do it. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in this video right here in case you missed it from last week. Bye.